I should talk about all the girls that I have snubbed in my life. There was a time in high school where this hot Mexican girl was very friendly with me. And while I felt just a twinge of something romantic toward her once, I viewed myself as very worthless and unattractive. And I was very good at repressing any such feelings of attraction, to a point that I hardly ever had them or felt them. And I lived feeling like I did not even need to have these feelings. Usually if I felt any attraction toward other people that could be called sexual, it was toward guys. But not in a way that I wanted to fuck them or date them, but it was more of an envy type attraction. You know, just recognizing that certain guys that look better than me, have more than me, that aren't losers like me, it made me envious. I wanted to be them and look like them, you know, rather than just fuck them or date them. But I still found them attractive, but more out of jealousy, like out of jealousy that I wasn't attractive like they are. I always thought this Mexican girl had a boyfriend because I would see her greet this Mexican kid sometimes, and they talked, so I figured, you know, there's no place in it for me. She was probably just being nice by accepting me and being friendly when we would talk, but she already has a boyfriend. She sat in front of me in French class, and I would graffiti and deface French books with penises, and I would also rip out page numbers, so when someone else used the book after me, they couldn't open it to the right page number. This girl was nice enough to see me do this shit, and she would never tell on me. Now, looking back on this, I wonder if that guy that I thought was her boyfriend could have actually been her brother. Oh well. Otherwise, I don't think there was any girl at school that came close to being friendly to me. I was on suicide watch one time, and there was a girl at this behavioral medical center who expressed to another girl within earshot of me that she liked me. During one of the group sessions, a psychiatrist lady asked her if there is anyone here that she likes. This girl looked at me directly and said, "Yeah." And I glanced at her when she did that, but I didn't react. A day or two later, she broke down crying, saying to the group that no one likes her because she's ugly and stupid. I wanted to tell her she's not ugly, but I'm not the kind to speak out and communicate, so I stayed silent and I just let her suffer and think whatever she thought. You know. Then another day, I heard her talking about me with another girl, and they were speculating that I might be gay, because that's why I don't respond to her cues that she's attracted to me. I don't know why I didn't go for it. I mean, both of us were two mentally fucked up people, so we could relate to each other. But internally, I would simply say to myself, like, what will I do with a girlfriend? Why do I need a girlfriend? I don't need one. And I don't deserve one. And then I sort of made up my mind to ignore her. Now my next chance didn't come until 5 years later, while on a job. The guys I was with pointed out to me that the two sisters living at this house we were working in were talking about me and how cute I am. I remember I was papering off a cabinet so finish can be sprayed on it at this house. And the girl, one of the sisters, actually walked up with a huge smile to me and she waved hello at me. So here was a wealthy family, and one of the many kids they have, their hot daughter, is attracted to me, waves at me, says hello. I look at her, then turn away without a word and continue working. This girl even tried to enlist her mother to be nice to me, to get me to notice her, to get me to be comfortable because I must be so shy, which is why I'm not responding. Her mother offered me beef jerky as a gift because that's what I wanted. She even offered to buy me any video game that I wanted, and I refused. I don't know why I do this. I have this compulsion to ignore people when they speak to me, to ignore kindness from people. It might have been because I've given myself spots of vitiligo that they couldn't see while I'm wearing clothes, and I thought that if the girls found out about it, they would lose their attraction to me. Another reason is because I remained feeling worthless and inadequate, and I just had this compulsion to punish myself, like I don't deserve kindness, I don't deserve happiness. And I also didn't feel ready for a relationship, because I don't develop like other people. I don't have like any life experiences to develop myself. So that whole thing about dating was alien to me. And I felt like it would be too much work and I wasn't comfortable with it. Now these two girls, they had two brothers. One was a teenager, another looked about 6 or 5 years old. Eventually, I ignored this girl who liked me for so long, every time I showed up to the job, that one time she just wound up sitting at a kitchen island with her back to me and eating noodles, and her 5-year-old brother, I hear him tell her as I go by, "Oh, look who it is." Obviously this indicated that she thinks about me when I'm not there, and that she expressed her thoughts about me to her family. She even tried looking sexy for me one time. She put on a crop top and she sort of leaned with her hip against the back of a couch in my way as I walked by, trying to get me to notice her. But I just plunged past her with this flat, expressionless, unseen look on my face, like the look I usually wear on my face when I do anything. And eventually after that, in the following days, she gave up. The whole family gave up on me. There would be no offers of gifts or anything. They just, left me alone as a lost cause. My next opportunity didn't come until I was 27. I was at a house where we were doing a job and I began noticing this attractive blonde girl who might have been 16 or 17. And then I felt myself getting a crush on her. And it was completely normal because even though I'm 27, I look maybe 18 or 19 and emotionally I feel like a teenager. Like if you put her next to me in a photo, we would both be judged as high schoolers by anyone who doesn't know my real age. So eventually It was really scary, but I made myself ask her name. I made myself ask her name. And this is the first time I would ever try to speak to a girl first. Which is what made it so, which made it really scary. And and she answered with a smile, she gave me her name. And right then I could have continued talking, I could have made small talk to build rapport, but I was too nervous and scared, so asking her name is all I could do, that's all I had the courage for, and then I stayed silent while our parents talked. I never approached a girl myself first before in my life until then. So asking her name is the only thing that I could barely scrape enough courage to do. I figured I'd get other chances later to speak to her and whatever, but I didn't. Her parents were very nice people. Grown-ups that I meet generally tend to speak with me and treat me like a teenager, or show me the same kindness that they would show a teenager. Other 27-year-olds that look rough like slobs, they just get the adult treatment. I get more of a preferential treatment because I look so much like a teenager, and I can sense that in their attitudes toward me. So eventually I wanted to see that girl again, but I didn't get the opportunity, so I left a note with my phone number for her, and I thought I'd be courageous enough to answer the phone. Well, I got a few phone calls once each day in the following days, and all were different numbers, but the area code seemed to be the right one for where she lives, so maybe she was spoofing her phone number just in case, I wasn't being serious or something. But I didn't answer the phone, I didn't have the courage to answer the phone. I was thinking, why is someone calling me? Why is it an unknown number? I was playing Call of Duty Ghosts, and I lagged out because, someone was calling me. And then I just started blocking phone calls so I can play without my connection lagging out. I told myself that because the numbers are different each time, it's probably not her. And they weren't insistent phone calls. I would get maybe one a day in the afternoon. It wasn't constant. I didn't know if she has a boyfriend, if she was really interested in me. There were instances I felt that she looked at me as if she might be checking me out. I mean, I was interested in her, but I was afraid to even look at her or give any indication that, that she might spot that, because it would be embarrassing. And, maybe she was the same way about me, I don't know. I just didn't feel worthy of that girl. For a 17-year-old, she seems very mature compared to me. I think she plays volleyball and does theater at her school, and how she carried herself with confidence, her arms crossed over her chest when she stands. I don't even make any confident postures. I walk with my shoulders hunched and my hands hanging at my sides. And unlike her, I never did any extracurricular activities at school. And I always felt like a loser, and I felt like if she really got to know me, she'd probably think I'm a creep, especially if she saw my YouTube channel and my political views. And then what if she learned I have vitiligo? And I just felt unworthy again and scared of rejection, and eventually, after leaving the note and not answering any phone calls that followed, I saw her again, and this time she would move past me in the house like I'm not even there, no eye contact, this time nothing. I don't know if she was mad because I brought her hopes up, I told her to call me, and then, never answered the phone after she went through the trouble of that. I don't know if her parents knew I was 27. or if they assumed I was 18 or 19 from looking at me. I mean, I've had people assume that I'm 15 from looking at me. I believe it's the physical and mental age that should count, not the chronological age. There is something in evolution called neoteny. It's when an organism retains childlike qualities into adulthood. This happens primarily to domesticated animals like wolf cubs that, remained childlike after being tamed by humans, and, they became dogs. All dogs pretty much stay like puppies psychologically. So a domesticated cat or dog are basically, mentally, they're like an eternal child of their species, and that's kind of how I am. I'm an eternal teenager, and so I'm simply attracted to people that physically and mentally resemble me. And this 17-year-old girl fit with that. She had really pretty looking large brown eyes, and that's why people should treat me like they would a kid and just view me as a beautiful quirk of nature. Like, supposedly the Asian race is greatly affected by the evolutionary trait of neoteny. Neoteny is also what allowed humans to evolve larger brains faster and basically become a more intelligent, less brutish species in such a short time of only a few thousand years. Another time there were two different girls on this jogging path I walk on. Twice this attractive girl, when I was 26, she might have been 16, twice she said hi to me, and I could sense she wanted me to give her attention, to return attention, maybe for me to stop and start talking to her, like she was interested in getting to know me, but I would just mumble hi in return, and it sounded like a barely audible grunt that she probably couldn't even hear. That's how shy I am, and I would just keep walking without breaking stride, just looking ahead with a straight, deadpan face like I normally do. And, again, I was doing the same exact thing, just completely ignoring another girl who tried to talk to me first. Then there was yet another girl who always smiled at me, always said hi. She had good-looking figure. I don't know if she was a high schooler still or not, but she was a really fast runner, and it was impressive. I mean, I saw her running a distance of probably 3 miles non-stop, because there's so much open space, you can see people a long distance away. There were probably 15 different occasions where we crossed paths with each other, and she looked like she was enthusiastic to speak with me, checking me out and waving at me and making these coquettish facial expressions like lifting her eyebrows and whatever. I even saw her warn some people with dogs ahead of me on the path when she ran ahead of me that I was coming down with my dog, so that they, should be ready in case our dogs want to fight or something when we go past each other. Now, I wondered why she would do that for me, and, again, I didn't talk to her other than say hi, nothing. I just carried on. That's my habit, to just not socialize. And so many attractive females that, that were interested in me that I simply never acknowledged. Some of them I didn't even make eye contact with. And now I am miserable because I've always been regretting so much because there were so many missed opportunities for me to have a girlfriend. But it's just when there is an opportunity, it's like there's something inside me that just locks up and doesn't let me take advantage of these opportunities. It's like some kind of fear, some kind of sense of inferiority, like I don't deserve it or I'm not good enough, you know. And I'm scared to approach a girl myself. So I say I want them to initiate contact first, but when they do, I completely snob them. It's like I perpetually feel not ready for any kind of relationship. I don't know. I mean, I have so many desires in life that are just conflicting. Like, I want to have friends, I don't want to be alone, and yet I desire to have so much alone time. I want to do things, and yet I get tired and I want to have time to take naps during the day, which would interfere with a lot of activities that, if I could do them, like any activities that are outside the house. You know, I want to be social, and yet I don't want to go into social situation. Like, a guy might go to a bar to try and meet a woman, but I'd rather go into the forest and walk my dog. I was afraid to enroll in college because I felt like I'd be a loser there, like I was in high school, and that I would just invite bullies and make myself a notorious loser in yet another place. I mean, look what I get on YouTube. I didn't want this shit in the real world anymore after high school. You know, it's one thing having trolls in the comments on the internet, but it's another thing facing assholes in the real world. So how am I gonna... I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this pit that I buried myself in. Like, I feel like I need to become rich to feel more confident. Like, I really need to be rich so I can support my child-like existence. I mean, I can go up to adults right now, tell them I'm 18, and they'll believe it and they'll treat me like a son. They'll even treat me like a son even if they know my real age. And so many people are so jealous, especially here on YouTube, that I can do that. Because so many of them are fat, Neanderthal-looking slobs. And because of that, they could never have a perk like that.